This video is brought to you by Green Man Gaming. Click the link below if you want to see some amazing deals on some incredible games. Opinions don't matter. I don't know how many times I can say this, but like, people's opinions don't matter.
Oh, okay.
What matters ultimately is what you think about things, but there are way too many people online that go to their favorite YouTuber or their favorite journalist outlet to get an opinion that kind of forms their own in a way. Like, they don't think for themselves, they kind of just listen to whoever they look up to or watch frequently and kind of just take on that opinion. And that goes for you guys watching this. You know, if you form your opinion about shit I'm saying, stop doing that. Play shit for yourself.
You don't need to follow me. You don't need to follow anybody. You're all individuals. Yes, we're all individuals.
Because it is just way too abundant when it comes to games, and it's especially apparent when it comes to game ratings. Now, rating a game is a pretty simple formula. You know, if you really hate a game and it has no redeeming qualities, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 5, you know, that's pretty simple to understand. Or if you think a game is an absolute masterpiece, 10 out of 10. But where it gets a bit skewed and a bit misunderstood is when it comes to the in-between ratings, you know, 6 out of 10s, 7 out of 10s, 4 out of 10s, because it gets to a point where it's kind of like, I don't think you really need a lot of these numbers, because the way people view it is, if a game is a 5 out of 10, it's bad. Just throw it away, not even worth it. It has no redeeming qualities. If a game has a 6 out of 10, it's the exact same. Even if a game gets a 7 out of 10, it's also considered bad for some reason. A game seems to be only worth it if it is an 8 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. Except when it gets a 10 out of 10, people say that you're biased and you're just glazing the game. You just can't win. Now, personally for me, the way I see it, and I think this is how it was before actually, is a 5 out of 10 is a middle of the road game. It's whatever, it's pretty unmemorable, it's mediocre. You know, 5 out of 10 is balanced. 6 out of 10 is the good slightly outweighs the bad. It's alright. It's an alright experience. It's not the best. It's whatever. 7 out of 10 is a good experience. Yeah, it has flaws, but the positives outweigh the negatives by quite a bit. It is good. And I don't get why people don't see that. A great example of this is when IGN reviewed Mouse PI for Hire. They gave it a 6 out of 10 and they got absolutely demolished for that. Everyone hated IGN for that review. And I mean, yeah, you know, it's just a bit mean to an indie game, but you know, it got me intrigued with the game. I got it for myself and I wanted to see if it was a 6 out of 10 like IGN was saying. I made my opinion very clear on this channel and I gave it a 7 out of 10. You know, a lot of the things that IGN were talking about, they weren't wrong. They did make some stupid points. Like, they said the dialogue was too cheesy, and it's kind of like, alright guys, I feel like you're missing the point here. But the game's not amazing. It kind of drags. It doesn't do anything all too special. It's very much a style over substance game, but it's still good, and that's why I gave it a 7 out of 10. And I got a comment being like, oh well, you're basically just as bad as IGN. Like, a 7 out of 10 isn't that much different from a 6 out of 10. And that confused me, because it is different. A 7 out of 10 means good, 6 out of 10 means alright. 7 is a whole point higher. There is a difference between a whole point, and I think that's where shit is getting a bit confusing. And I blame outlets like IGN, GameSpot, all that shit, because it really does seem like, unless they really don't like a game or have a bad experience, they give a game that they don't really want to review that much and don't really enjoy that much a 7 out of 10. It's kind of like a throwaway review. They were probably paid, given a review copy, and they were kind of like, I don't really want to review this, or the journalist reviewing the game probably had other games to play and they rushed through it and they were kind of like, alright, 7 out of 10. Like, the way they rate games at IGN doesn't really make sense to me, because sometimes they can just talk about the game, praise the entire thing, and you'd think they'd give it like a 10, because, you know, they've said no negatives, you know, it's a complete masterpiece. But no, they give it like an 8 or a 7. It's kind of like, okay, what are the flaws here then? Why did you lower the score? And I noticed this when I was a kid, because I remember I used to be a bit competitive when it came to discourse between Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter, and I was kind of bitter at the fact the Ratchet and Clank HD collection got a lower score than the Jak and Daxter HD collection, which, looking back on it, is fucking stupid. I was a part of the problem. But in the Ratchet and Clank HD collection, Collection review, they didn't really say anything negative about the game, but they gave it a lower score than the Jak and Daxter HD Collection, and my younger brain just couldn't comprehend this. It was so confused. It felt betrayed. You know, these amazing reviewers that everyone can trust, IGN, weren't making sense. What was going on? I thought I could trust these people. And I think that was the moment where I was kind of like, yeah, maybe IGN's a bit shit. That's not me saying I think Ratchet and Clank is better than Jak and Daxter. I can imagine Jak and Daxter probably deserved a higher score than Ratchet and Clank. I think the HD Collection for Jak and Daxter was actually way more refined, so I do get why IGN did this, but the way they portrayed their review and gave the scores just made no sense. When they do give a genuine review with actual criticism, they get absolutely demolished for that shit. Do you guys remember when they reviewed Death Stranding 1? What, did they give it like a 6 out of 10?
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
And the guy reviewing it, you know, he gave his thoughts. He was reviewing a Kojima game. He kind of had to. Kojima fans are feral, so he had to make it very clear all of his flaws, all of his favorite things about the game, and he gave it a 6 overall. He thought it was alright, which is fine. I think Death Stranding 1 is an alright game. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I don't think that's an unfair review for the gamers. You gotta be a very specific person to enjoy Death Stranding, but because they've created this image where everything they don't really care about is a 7 out of 10 because they want to appease the people, they don't want to get too much shit, people absolutely destroyed them for this. They got absolutely demolished. But also as well, IGN sometimes are just not objective. And I think the best example of this is their Alien Isolation review, which, what did they give Alien Isolation? Let me Google this real quick. A 5.9 out of 10. Now, I haven't fully played through Alien Isolation, so I can't give my honest thoughts on the game, but I have a lot of friends who have played through Alien Isolation. There's a lot of videos out there talking about how good of a game is. I've seen the videos talking about the Xenomorph AI and how it makes it this terrifying experience. So why is it considered just alright? Obviously, I've heard it overstays its welcome. You know, near the end it does become kind of a drag, which, you know, I can imagine. There's a lot of horror games that kind of have a shit ending. Almost every single Resident Evil game has a pretty mid ending area. Even Resident Evil Requiem, when you get to the lab, it drags. And that game isn't even that long. So why with Alien Isolation does it get knocked down almost half of its score because it gets a bit frustrating near the end? Like, okay, that makes sense. And obviously this is a very subjective opinion, but I feel like with IGN, like a big journalist outlet, they need to be more objective when it comes to this stuff, because these are the guys that can impact a game's sales. And I feel like this IGN review might have impacted Alien Isolation sales. I don't know how well the game did, but you know, it came out years ago and it's only just now getting a sequel. So I don't know there. Oh, another example, Prey 2017. I'm never gonna let them live this down. The game glitched for them, and because their save file corrupted because of some like PC glitch that I don't know anyone else who had that issue, they gave the game a 4 out of 10. They praised it. They were like, the game is great, really enjoy this, but my save file corrupted, so I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10, which for IGN is considered bad. And obviously they got so much backlash for this, including me, because guys, your job is to play and review games. Just fucking start from the beginning. You could probably beat Prey in like a day or two. Like, it's not that long of a game, you know, and also you know what you're doing for a lot of it, so why not just play through it again? And they did. They played through it again, only because of backlash, and they gave it a very hesitant 8 out of 10. Should have been a 9.5 though, because Prey is one of the best games ever made. I'm just saying. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to rant about review scores because sometimes they don't make sense to me. They genuinely don't make sense to me. And even like how the way people view review scores, it just, I don't know, just kind of goes over my head a bit. The way it should be is 5 is mediocre, 6 is alright, 7 is good. Anything below a 5 is when you should start being like, I don't think I should put money into this game unless it's like really low in price. And I haven't even talked about the star rating system, like fucking hell. Speaking of the star rating system, I have a backlogged account, so if you want to follow me on there to see what games I'm playing, what I'm reviewing, you know, my stupid reviews on there. Check out my Dead Rising 4 review. I'm proud of that one. I think that's a very good description of how it feels playing Dead Rising 4. Thank you all so much for watching. I made this video to try and understand where everyone's head is around game ratings, because I've had a lot of people like come to me and be like, why did you give this game a 7 out of 10? Do you think it's bad? And it's like, it's always confused me, because it's like, a 7 out of 10 is good. A 7's good. I don't understand. I don't know. I just wanted to make this video to maybe create a bit of a discussion about game ratings. Let me know what you guys think about it. Before I go, I just want to give a huge thank you to Green Man Gaming. If you're looking for some highly rated games for a very good price, this is the place to go. They have so many good deals on so many amazing games. Click the link below if you want to check it out for yourself. And before I go, I just want to give a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. If I were to rate you guys, you would all be a 10 out of 10. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. Same goes to the channel members. 10 out of 10. Just thank you all so much. Thank you for the support. I know there's like a bunch of new ones of you now. When I was streaming, I was able to gift 10 channel members for free. And I kind of went a bit crazy with that. So there's probably a bunch of you that are seeing this early who got that for free. And you know, welcome. I hope you stick around. I hope you enjoy the videos. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. I don't have a funny word to comment this time, guys. I'm really sorry. I'll think of a good one in the next video.